My name is Timur. I was born of the earth as iron. The cold deserts warmed by blood when I passed. I was a child of the sky. My sword was shadow, my breath a storm. They said, "He is crippled, he cannot walk." But I did not merely walk, I conquered the world. From Samarkand to Delhi, from Bukhara to Ankara, every city heard my name. Each destruction was a beginning of order. They called me Emir, Khan, Timuri Leng. But I said only this: I am Timur. I will not be forgotten. And now, from the dusty layers of time, my voice returns. Listen to me.
By the end of the 13th century, Asia was still bearing the legacy of the Mongols, vast but fragmented. Conflicts among the grandsons of Genghis Khan had shattered the empire into pieces. In these lands, there was no longer an absolute power, nor a true leader. Around the year 1336, in a Turkic nomadic camp near the town of Kesh, close to Samarkand, a child was born, Timur. Though his lineage did not trace directly to Genghis Khan, he belonged to the Barlas tribe. His father, Taragai, was a regional chieftain. His mother, Tikin Hatun, was a devout woman. The era into which Timur was born marked the internal decline of the Chagatai Khanate. Every tribe was striving to carve out its own destiny. At a young age, he learned to ride horses, shoot arrows, and fight in battle. But a severe wound sustained during a raid left his left leg crippled. This physical setback earned him a title, Timuri Leng, Timur the Lame. In Central Asia, power was gained not only by the sword, but through wit as well. Timur was neither a Khan nor a prince by birth, yet he knew how to protect the weak and form alliances with the strong. He set his sights on thrones to which he had no blood claim because the people longed for a leader, for order. Every leader has a companion on the path, and sometimes that companionship lays the foundation of an empire. For Timur, that person was Emir Hussein. While tribes across Central Asia were tearing each other apart, Timur chose negotiation over battle. The alliance he formed with Emir Hussein didn't just give him strength, it gave him legitimacy. Together, they dismantled their rivals one by one. Their campaigns against the Kara Tatars and remnants of the Mongols marked the first time Timur unleashed his military genius on the battlefield. When they seized control of Balkh, the local people no longer saw them merely as warriors, they were seen as rulers. Timur wasn't just conquering land, he was establishing order. But as with all alliances, cracks began to form beneath this union of power. Hussein gradually desired the spotlight for himself. Timur, however, remained patient, yet that patience was a calculated strategy. In 1370, Timur eliminated Hussein. Power now rested solely in his hands, and Samarkand became, that year, the capital of a new era. Timur was now alone. But this solitude was not weakness, it was the birth of a superpower. Two swords journeyed together, but only one reached empire, and the name of that sword was Timur. Timur was now alone, but this solitude didn't weaken him. On the contrary, it allowed him to move every piece on the board by himself. After eliminating Emir Hussein in 1370, Timur launched move after move to gain absolute control over the region. He defeated his rivals not through sheer force, but through intelligence and patience. But there was one problem. Timur was not a descendant of Genghis Khan. According to Mongol tradition, he could not be proclaimed Khan. He solved this problem in his own unique way. He appointed a puppet Khan, noble by blood, but powerless. Timur, meanwhile, stayed in the background, making all the decisions. His official title was Emir, but everyone knew who truly ruled. Samarkand became the heart of Timur's imperial vision. The city grew rapidly, madrasas were founded, and trade routes were secured under Timur's name. But Timur's sights weren't set on Central Asia alone. He was now crafting a plan that knew no borders. He listed his enemies one by one and waited, patiently. The first target, Khorasan, then Persia, then the Golden Horde, India, and China. But first, every piece within had to fall into place. Timur was no longer just a man. He was an idea, a system, a fear. Timur was no longer looking at just one region. He had his eyes on the entire East. And his first message was sent to Khorasan, but this message was not written in words. It was written in fire. In the mid-1370s, Timur turned his campaign toward Khorasan and Persia. These lands were rich, yet unstable. Old dynasties, regional powers, and religious factions had left the region in chaos. For Timur, this meant victory without resistance. A fragmented enemy could not stand against a united army. Herat, Sarox, Merv. They fell one by one. But Timur didn't just conquer these cities. He rebuilt them. Everywhere he went, order, law, and fear arrived together. In every city he entered, Timur delivered a clear message to the people: submit and live, resist and be destroyed. These two sentences summed up his entire strategy. But Timur carried more than just a sword. He carried a mind. He met with scholars wherever he went, opened madrasas, and invested in learning. For him, conquest wasn't only about seizing land, it was about shaping thought. The order he established was not one of blind terror, but of calculated balance. Every crime was punished, every surrender rewarded. This balance became the foundation of Timur's empire. The Khorasan campaign was not just the display of Timur's military genius, it was the first major move that revealed his statecraft. From this point on, his enemies were no longer mere commanders. They were sultans, khans, kings, and emperors. Sometimes the greatest enemy emerges from the closest ranks. For Timur, Tokhtamysh was once a trusted ally, but now he had become a threat standing in his way. It was Timur who had placed Tokhtamysh on the throne of the Golden Horde. He gave him support, an army, and prestige. But Tokhtamysh soon became someone else. Power is like poison. Tokhtamysh forgot Timur's loyalty. He launched attacks on Transoxiana, even raided as far as Samarkand. This was no longer a political conflict. It was betrayal. Timur responded, but not with a letter. His reply was a campaign that crossed the Caucasus. From 1389 to 1395, this reckoning became one of Timur's fiercest conflicts. They clashed twice. In the first battle, Tokhtamysh fled. In the second, history was written. The Battle of the Kondurcha River in 1395 broke the back of the Golden Horde. Tokhtamysh escaped, never to recover. Timur set fire to Sarai Batu, delivering a symbolic message: I burn not only men, but systems. The Golden Horde never rose again, and Timur announced to the world that even the north lay open before him. Tokhtamysh's betrayal sharpened Timur's imperial mind. Now he had a single goal: to advance without borders. A friend had become a foe, but for Timur, this was only the beginning. Next target, India. This was only the beginning. Timur had yet to fully draw his sword. The first alliance, the first strategy, the first real move, all await you in Episode 2. Subscribe now and stay tuned. You won't want to miss it.